It starts with a voice telling you can't. But they don't know you.
What moves me is helping a client or family create generational wealth through homeownership. Once we reach the closing table, it is an accomplishment that they will never forget.
It's about being different and breaking the mold of the realtor stereotype.
But at the end of the day, it's really about helping people. And what better way to help them than with their biggest investment and making a difference in their lives.
What else moves me? My family. I love being with my family and spending time with them. And I think if you can balance real estate and your personal life, you've got it all.
Many powerful women have heard that voice telling them what they couldn't do. But they did it anyway. By being bold, fearless, and relentless.
What moves me? Seeing my client's happy face at the closing table.
I'll give you one guess as to what moves me every single day, and that is my cheese monkey 4-year-old son, Chase. Can you say hi, Chase?
Hi!
Skiing, biking, hiking, golfing, and smelling the mountain fresh air and sharing that with our clients. That's what moves me.
I want to be available every day to help others find their gift inside their heart. That's what motivates me.
What moves me is watching how my energy, my positive attitude, and my bell inspire the agents in my office to be excited about their real estate businesses.
They were moved by motivation, inspiration, aspiration, and collaboration.
What moves me is progress that will lead to change in a timely fashion and cancel out systemic racism.
What moves me is the pure joy and excitement that I get from seeing my clients' happy faces on closing day.
You love yourself, you love what you do, and you love how you do it. And that's what makes me move.
It's really rewarding to help our team break through their plateaus to reach both their personal and their professional goals.
The satisfaction I get from helping others achieve their dreams, and my desire to be even better tomorrow than I am today.
When I started, I really found that it was a male-dominated business. So it gave me a lot of drive to be a woman in a male-dominated business where I could thrive.
And then when they grew up, even though this isn't my daughter, she's not here today, but this is like my daughter, they can join your business, and it's incredible.
So many wonderful clients come into my world that I'm able to find them wonderful properties here and make their whole experience really great.
What moves me is revitalizing my neighborhoods and helping my clients increase their net worth while living locally and working globally.
And what moves me is ensuring that every child in our community has a full stomach when they go to sleep. Fighting childhood hunger is very important to me.
I think that's one of the key successes to our business is kindness and not being afraid to compliment others. It's not giving away your power, it's actually generating your own.
This year, Coldwell Banker launched the What Moves Her initiative to help women in real estate develop their leadership skills, realize their professional development goals, and discover what moves them to achieve success.
What moves me is the fact that I get to help my clients with one of the biggest decisions of their life.
And especially my passion for making people happy, which is what we all must do every day as great realtors.
Creating an authentic connection where my clients know they can depend and lean on me at any time, even long after a closing. The American dream, of course. I joined Coldwell Banker October 2014. This is my family. I'm super happy, driven by my two beautiful kids, Nikolai and Victoire.
What moves me is when kids tell me which bedroom's going to be theirs.
What moves me is knowing that I am helping people achieve their dreams of ownership.
What moves me is growth, spiritual growth, emotional growth, business growth, growth in friendship, in your family, whatever it is, if it's growth oriented, that's what moves me.
They don't know you. But what matters is you know yourself.
And what moves me is being an integral part of a legacy brand that focuses on integrity and driving the dream of homeownership.
Those are the things that move me. That's what moves me.
That's what really moves me.
So, what moves you?
Wow. I don't know about all of you, but what comes to mind when I watch that video are 3 crucial words: powerful, authentic, and diverse. Powerful women who are leading and giving their voice with 100% authenticity. And it reminded me of why I started this series and really what moves me. And that is the ability to help others dream big and achieve more than they ever believed possible, and to do it on my terms, authentically, doing it me. And it got me to thinking that maybe I should share with this audience the story behind What Moves Her and my passion for driving diversity in leadership. Now, tactically, it began during a conversation with Ryan Gorman when he sat me down and he told me I had to figure out what my thing was. I didn't really know I had to have a thing. I thought I just had to come to work. But anyway, I kind of knew what he was getting at, and he told me he had a sneaking suspicion he knew where I would end up with this. But I didn't, honestly. And so I sat down with some friends and some colleagues, and I think it was Tanya Rue Narvaez who said to me, Sue, you inspire people, you encourage them, and you get energy from helping them achieve their goals. I literally had no idea what she was talking about. I just feel like I've always done me. I've worked hard, I've put my head down, and I've just done the best job I can. And through that, I've always wanted to help others do more, to achieve more, to take risks, to be aggressive and relentless in their pursuits. So as I started to think about that, I wasn't really sure how I would frame that passion or how I would use that to create something meaningful that would become my thing. And candidly, I didn't know if I wanted my thing, right? But I looked deep and I really tried to understand where this passion came from in me. And when it comes down to it, it really shouldn't be so surprising. And it really helped me begin to frame this entire series of What Moves Her. And the fact is, I've never worked for a woman. My mentors, all men. My bosses, all men. And really, until I came to Realogy several years ago, my peers were generally all men. And I started thinking about how over the years, the vast majority of the naysayers in my life, the people who challenged me, who questioned my passion, my dogged focus on being successful in my career, really the vast majority tended to be the women in my life. And I thought that was just unbelievable. Those who doubted, those who questioned, and those who made me feel most guilty about my commitment to my career seemed to be the women in my life. And now that, God, that kind of sucks to realize, right? Especially as I'm raising a young girl and as I'm now surrounded by so many amazing and powerful women, and there's so many amazing and powerful women in our industry. How did I feel that way? And to dissect that and to realize that somehow when you're reaching for your dreams, when you're fighting for your goals, that those most like you, who you think should be most standing in your corner, pushing you forward, were some of those most likely to pull you down. Now, honestly, that's part of what fuels my fire to drive and to be successful. I love proving people wrong, and I love being successful and helping others become successful. But honestly, that's going to be a story for another day. So as my career grew and I reached certain levels, I kind of looked around and I had this realization that I had an opportunity, maybe really an obligation, to provide to others what I didn't have: a real voice, an honest voice, a woman at the table, not taking seats away, but pulling seats out, giving a seat to the next woman, to the next generation, making room, not protecting my own space. And I'm a person that believes that you do not have to dim your light to have others' light shine. Rather, I relish in the idea that all of our lights burning together shine brighter, more than alone. It's together as a team we shine the brightest. So I grabbed a group of women, as I randomly tend to do, and it was Tanya and Leah Wright and Ronnie Boyles, Andrea Gillespie, and others. And I started to pitch this idea. And man, has it evolved. It's tremendous. It's evolved through their insights, their perspectives, their own personal stories. And together, we've created this amazing platform. I am so proud of it, and I am so proud and thankful to the entire team that has stood behind and supported this since day one. And part of what we wanted to ensure as a team as we created this platform is that we would provide real, meaningful, and tangible ways to grow your business, to reach the next level, to encourage you to take risks in your career, but not just only celebrate women or have great feel-good stories and share our, inspiring words. My goal, our goal, is to go beyond that, to provide real support to drive results, real action items that you can implement to grow your business and take that next step, whatever that is for you. Because we don't define that for you. We just want to help you get there. And that is why I am so fiercely committed to driving diversity in leadership, why I'm so passionate about this platform that we started, this series that's taken on a tremendous life of its own, and why I'm so thrilled that through Coldwell Banker Realty and through Realogy, I have had the opportunity to bring to all of you such amazing speakers through this series. And why I am so honored to have with us today Olympic medalist Summer Sanders. This is a woman who has competed at the highest level. It's astounding to me. She doesn't apologize for her success, for going after her dreams, for daring to dream big and doing everything she could to get there. And especially for today, a woman who looks obstacles in the eye. She never backs down. She looks at every challenge as an opportunity to reach the next level. She is amazing. She is a force. And spoiler alert, she knows an awful lot about real estate up close and personal. So let's spend some time getting to know the amazing Summer Sanders. And as always, post your questions in the chat, and I'll be back at the end to have a one-on-one conversation and get your questions answered.
Summer Sanders came to these Olympic Games with a chance of winning 5 gold medals. And through some leap of faith, we assumed it would surely happen. Sunday, she had her first test. In one of swimming's most grueling events, the 400-meter individual medley, Summer took the bronze. On Tuesday, another chance, the 200-meter butterfly, a weak event for Summer. It showed. She watched fellow American Chrissy Amon-Leighton win the silver. Summer finished 6th. Yesterday, China's powerhouse, Lin Li, stood between Summer and the gold. It was one of the best races of these Olympics. Summer Sanders was touched out at the wall by Lin Li.
Well, you're edging closer to that gold medal. What about tomorrow?
I guess tomorrow's my last chance, and it's my favorite race. Just have to stay relaxed and we'll see what happens.
Public confidence, but in private a glimpse of the pain. Summer crying in the arms of her coach. Even though she really wasn't expected to win any of the races she lost, maybe she also took the leap of faith with us. Today, Summer Sanders gets one last shot at an individual gold medal. Her 5th chance, her last chance. Summer Sanders is in 5, and it is Susan O'Neill in 4 of Australia who takes the early lead.
Summer Sanders has to be tired from all of the racing that she has done this week. It's essential that she remains calm in terms of her turnover and stay relaxed because she has 3 laps after this first one, and she has a tendency to take it out hard.
Wang Xiaohong of China in lane 2 is swimming well, as is Angie Wester-Craig. At the first 50, it is Susan O'Neill. Wang Xiaohong is 2nd, and Summer Sanders is 3rd. Angie Wester-Craig is 6th.
Wang Xiaohong had a disappointing 100 butterfly where she placed 4th. This is her last chance at an individual medal as well.
Wang Xiaohong in lane 2, and Susan O'Neill in lane 4, now running 1-2. Summer Sanders is running 3rd.
Charlie, this is not the place that Summer Sanders had planned to be. She's the type of swimmer that gets out in front and stays in front. Xiaohong is on world record pace at a 1:01.28.
3 swimmers are now going for the medals. Wang Xiaohong in 2, Summer Sanders in 5, Susan O'Neill in 4. It is Wang Xiaohong first, Susan O'Neill second. Summer Sanders is now 3rd with some 60 meters to go.
Summer Sanders seems to be gaining in momentum here, Charlie. Not what is usually her strategy. She's looking very good, and she just turned even with everybody on that turn. A great push-off. It's going to come down to who has the most determination now.
Summer Sanders at the top of the screen in 5. Below her in 4 is Susan O'Neill. Wang Xiaohong is in 2. It is Wang Xiaohong with the lead in 2. And then Susan O'Neill. Summer Sanders is making her bid. 15 meters to go. Here comes Summer Sanders. Can she do it? Summer Sanders may get O'Neill. Can she get Wang Xiaohong? Summer may have it. She goes for the touch. Does she do it? Yes! The goal! 2:08.67.
At last, Summer Sanders wins the individual gold medal that she came from, and this is at last the Summer Olympics.
Hello, everybody. I have to say it's been 28 years since that moment, and I watch it, and I was saying to Sue earlier, I get choked up every time I see it. It was so special, and we'll get into that much more, but Sue, I would like to personally say thank you so much. I had no idea what the lead-in to this conversation was going to be, but you all, everyone who's watching this, all you amazing Coldwell Banker agents, hard-working people, have fired me up. Your words of what moves you is inspiring. Okay, so thank you for having me. I'm here at my house in Park City, Utah with my, trinkets behind me and everything. So this is an intimate setting, much more intimate than I've ever been able to give a speech before. Usually when I have my my gold medal moment on the screen, it kind of like brings everyone together. And I certainly hope it had that effect on you at home. And we'll get into that race a little bit more. What you saw in the lead up, right, was a 19-year-old girl who wanted more than anything, as Sue said, when I set my mind to something, I work really hard to get it, who wanted more than anything to win an individual gold medal at those Olympic Games. But what you didn't see and what you didn't know is that absolutely nothing went according to plan during that race. Absolutely nothing. And it proves to me, it's something that I have actually hanging on my wall down in my kitchen, a saying that says, life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful. And actually, as a 47-year-old mom of 2, I prefer life to be imperfect. I find it more wonderful. If things are too perfect, I get a little on edge. And imperfection is what we're in right now. The pivot, we're in a very pivotal, oh my gosh, we're in a very pivotal time. I think, I wish I could see you because I think you would agree with me that I'm sick and tired of hearing the word unprecedented. But Sue sort of alluded to this in the very beginning. When I hear the word unprecedented, or if I see that challenge of things changing, I get excited. So when I hear it now, unprecedented, I think, okay, how am I going to change my plan? How am I going to be better? How am I going to step up? But for many, and I totally get this, change is scary. And new territory is daunting. Totally understand that. And I'm going to tell you a story about my first realization with how I handle scary moments. And then I'll tell you why I love them so much. So I started swimming when I was 4. I grew up in Northern California. There I am, a little 4-year-old that never wore a swim cap. But I had an older brother. I still have an older brother, and he's 2.5 years older than me. He still is 2.5 years older than me. We wanted to join the swim team. That's what everyone did in my town. Northern California, in the summertime, as you probably have heard from all the fires, it can get up to 115 degrees. And my dad, he claims this, he said he was too cheap to turn on the air conditioning, especially when we had a built-in air conditioner in our backyard which was a kidney bean shaped swimming pool. So when I was 4, I said, I'm joining the swim team. I walk on the pool deck for my tryouts, and the coach says, hey, we'd really love for her to be 6, but we'll go ahead and let her join the team if she can swim a lap at the pool. Fast forward a couple of months, and now it's big time. I'm in my red, white, and blue stars swimsuit, and I'm standing there with my team, the Sugar Bears, and I'm on the blocks for my first race. And I think it probably all hit me, my 4-year-old self. I got caught up in the moment. I got really scared, and I started crying. I mean, not just a little crying, like enough crying that my mom walked up to the starter and said, hey, can we pause for a second? She came over to me and she said, Summer, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. But then she sort of shifted her focus to the other end of the 25-yard pool and said, but if you want to, look at who's at the other end. It's your teammates. It's your brother. It's your brother's friends. It's your friends. It's your dad. And somewhere in that big pep talk that she was giving me, my face turned from sheer terror to a look of determination that she said she would see many times later in my life. So in that moment, she looked to the starter and said, I think we're okay to go. He used the old-fashioned gun. Off we went. I belly flopped in the pool, swam my heart out to the other end, touched the wall. I did not see what place I got. It was only like maybe 10 years ago that my mom told me that I actually got 3rd. All I cared about is that I was scared, and I did it. And I touched the wall, and I got out, and my friends were congratulating me, and I felt big time because, you know, my brother's friends thought I was cool for a second. And I walked around the pool deck like this, all proud, stomach out, and head high. And I realized in that moment that I fell in love with something. I became addicted, actually, to being scared, pushing through it, going for it, and feeling that sense of accomplishment when I actually did it. That sense of accomplishment, right? I think we all can think back to some time in our lives when we were very, very scared. Sometimes we give in to that scary feeling. It's fear. What if I can't do it? What if it doesn't go well? Throw the what ifs out and just decide and accept it, accept the challenge, go forward, and allow yourself to feel that sense of accomplishment. I feel so lucky that I became addicted to that feeling at such an early age. I still feel it now in my life when I host my television shows, even standing here and doing a virtual speech for you, which I've never done before. A little scary, but every time you try those little scary things, you grow so much. And I heard somebody say in the What Moves Her video in the very beginning, growth. How can you grow if you don't put yourself in those positions? All right, well, we are in those positions right now, right? I'm not going to use that word that I said in the beginning, but I think many people in March thought we are entering rough waters. And I know firsthand that even the most accomplished swimmer, if you put him in the middle of the Pacific and rough waters, it's going to be tough to survive. You have to survive with clear direction and a clear game plan, right? Both of those two things. And what it sounds like to me when listening to all those amazing women is that you also have an incredible support system. You have people supporting you. So you should never, ever feel like you're in rough waters by yourself. The other thing that I heard a lot of, which translates to my career as a swimmer, is the love and the passion. I've always loved swimming. My first lessons were when I was 18 months and I cried every second of my lesson. But when I was 3, I learned to love it. And as you know, when I was 4, I joined the team. I loved it. Even when I was swimming in the morning and at night and in the middle of the day, I was playing in my backyard pool. I loved swimming. Here I am in my backyard pool. I loved swimming when I was working my tail off. I mean, not only academically, but physically with swimming at Stanford University, which I was so lucky to be there and training with the best swimmers in the world every single day. And it goes back to that saying of it doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. It wasn't perfect all the time. I mean, did I really, really love every single moment? No, I didn't love getting up at 4:07 a.m. every day of high school. And some people are like, really, Summer, 4:07? Yes, really 4:07. That is what time my alarm went off because I knew it would take me 8 minutes to get ready in the morning. And that meant I had 7 more minutes to sleep if I waited until 4:07. But I would jump out of bed. And even in those moments when it was freezing cold and I'd get out of the pool and my hair would be wet, and it's in Northern California in the wintertime where it still kind of gets cold, and I'd run my hands through my hair and I'd think, wait a second, did I not rinse the conditioner out? And then I'd quickly realize, no, that's my hair frozen. Those moments, the journey, the moments with my teammates, right? So think of this. If you have a group of people, remember Sue was talking about, we can lift each other up and be better together. We can be one bright light, but together we shine and light the whole sky. There were many times when I didn't think I could make it through a practice, and I called upon my teammates. And we always had this saying. Which was, when we were down, we had maybe one more 100 to do of the set that we were working on. We would call out, it's fourth quarter. It's fourth quarter. And actually, I had my club coach, his name was Mike Hastings. He held me accountable at a very early age. And I knew quite quickly, and this translates so well to any profession in life, any person who's working towards something. No deposit, no return. That's what he would say. He would simply question people, hey, who went and did their weight workout on their own this morning? Raise your hand, right? You could raise your hand, even if you didn't go, but no deposit, no return. If you didn't put the work in, i.e. put money in the bank, you could never call upon that later in the season. When you called upon that deposit, those deposits that you put in, and you now wanted to go purchase whatever accolade you wanted to win, you had to put the work in. No deposit, no return. That was a concept I learned very early on. Also very early on, I learned a very distinct difference between a dream and a goal. I wish I could see everybody's hands. Who has dreams right now in real estate, right? Big dreams, raise your hand, even if at your home. Do you have big dreams? I hope you do. But now I think the difference between a dream and a goal is when you write it down, when you start to get specific with it. I had the dream of winning an Olympic gold medal in 1984. And funny enough, right before 1984, I decided to quit swimming. But my dad took me to the LA Olympics, and I got to see so many amazing athletes, wrestlers, Pernell Whitaker in fighting, of course, swimmers. And I saw these moments and I saw myself. And I was an 11, 12-year-old, I forget how old I was, 11, 12-year-old. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching their moment, whether it was Mary Lou Retton or Tracy Calkins, and I saw their face on the TV screen, and I saw the flag going up and their hand over their heart, and the moment happening, right? I mean, the tear just strolling ever so gracefully down their cheek. And I thought, that's the moment that I want to have. That's my dream, right? It wasn't till much later that I realized there is a difference between a dream and a goal. I didn't really know how to work to become an Olympian when I was 11 or 12. I knew I wanted it to happen. So I started writing all my goals down. And I'm not talking, this is incredibly different, I think, than Oprah's vision board. I love that concept too. But this is very specific. And this is the power of seeing your goals on a piece of paper and almost ingesting them daily, twice daily, 3 times daily. Seeing them, reminding yourself of them, getting excited about them, right? So I would write all my goal times down. I got really specific. I would have my time that I wanted for my race, and I broke it down for each individual lap, how fast I wanted to go. And I would, starting in high school, I would tape that to my bathroom mirror. I wouldn't say it out loud. I'd just look at it. I'd be brushing my teeth and I'd just be looking at it. And I would imagine myself doing it. I would see myself doing it, right? Dreams are great, but when you write down your goals, that's when they shift. When you write down your goals, that's when they shift from being the moment on the screen that you're watching of somebody else to you actually doing. And sometimes this moment organically shifts because of an opportunity that Sue was talking about earlier that some people could classify as a failure. And that was my case. In 1988, I was a 15-year-old. I'd just come off really the worst season of my life. I was a really bad 14-year-old, and I have a 14-year-old daughter right now. Anyway, I was a 15-year-old, and I had made it. I'd qualified for the Olympic trials. I'm sure that most of you all watch the Olympic Games. I know that we're all missing them right now or had just missed them, but we look forward to them in 2021. But I loved the Olympic Games, and I'm sure that you watched the swimming, the track and field, the gymnastics. All the qualifications are different. But in swimming, here's how it works. About 80 people, 70 to 80 people in each event qualify time-wise at a separate meet previous to the Olympic trials to swim at the Olympic trials. Out of those 80 people that swim each event in the morning, the 8 fastest qualify to swim again at night. Now, out of those 8 people at night, the first 2 people to touch the wall make the Olympic team. If Michael Phelps has the flu and does not touch first or second at night in his world record event, does he make the Olympic team? No. There is no committee. This is not subjective. You have to show up on the day. So as a 15-year-old walking on the pool deck for the Olympic trials, I had never experienced that kind of nervousness, that feeling of anxiousness. When you walk on, the air was so thick with nerves and stress, you could feel it. And I think my coach saw that. So he came over to me and he said, Summer, you've never made a finals before in your life. Let's just use this as experience, right? A beautiful gift to me. I mean, I felt like luggage, like endless luggage was taken off of my shoulders. Just have fun. Just use this for experience. See what happens. Awesome. That's what I did. I went out and swam my first race, which was the 400 IM, and I accidentally made the finals. I qualified 8th. I swam again at night. I was a little bit nervous, but not bad. I think I ended up 7th. Great. I made 1 finals. That's awesome. It came down to the very last day of Olympic trials, and I swam the 200 IM. I loved the 200 IM, by the way. 1 lap of each stroke. You can't get bored. It's constantly shifting, constantly changing. So I stand on the blocks. So this is the Olympic trials in 1988. I swim my 200 IM, and I accidentally qualify for the finals. And I qualify 3rd. So 3rd is a lot different than 8th. And my coach recognizes that I once again have gotten a little bit nervous. So he comes up to me and he says, now Summer, I want you to go as fast as you can from the very beginning. And if you die, you die. But at least you gave it everything you had. And I said, okay, this is great. I can totally do it. This is the way I worked best. Just give me a little nugget of information and I'll go do it in the pool. So with the way it worked at Olympic trials is they want to make it a big production. So you meet up in this small room, the 8 of you for your finals, and you get all nervous together, and then they parade you out around the swimming pool. And while you're parading out, some people had their Walkmans on. Yes, it was 1988. So they had their Walkmans on. They weren't looking at anything. They were listening to their music. I, on the other hand, was taking in the moment because I thought, I don't think I'm ever going to be here again. So I'm waving to my friends as I walk around. We make our way around the swim pool. I'm standing behind the blocks. They say to me, hey, you should wave to the crowd when they say your name. So they say my name and I wave. All right, now I'm getting ready. I noticed that the girl next to me in lane number 4 spits in my lane. And I thought, oh my God, this is insane. These girls are crazy. I'm never going to be able to compete with them, right? Remember how Sue said that? You're never going to be able to compete with them. That's what I was saying to myself. All right, I stand on the blocks. The starter says go. I think about my game plan as fast as I can from the very beginning. Butterfly is my first lap. I love butterfly. I'm getting into a groove. Just go fast. Don't think about anything. Don't think about anything except for what's going on in between my 2 lane lines. I turn on the backstroke, feeling good, feeling awesome. Breaststroke, I haven't looked at anybody else at this point. I love breaststroke. I'm just going to drive this into the wall. I have 1 more lap to go. I sneak a peek, and I'm in lane number 3. I see that lanes 1 and 2 are behind me. Just a little bit, maybe. I push off. I kick, and I come up, and I take my first breath, and I don't see anything from lanes 4 through 8. Nothing. Flat water. And I think to myself, oh my God, have I already died? And I didn't even know it. Oh, this is so embarrassing. So I take a couple more strokes, and I take another breath, and now I see that everybody is just coming up, and they're at my feet. So what does that mean? Lanes 1 and 2 are behind me. 4 through 8 are behind me by a body length. I'm a 15-year-old that was not even supposed to make finals. And with 30 meters to go, I am winning the Olympic trials by a body length. Remember how I said I wasn't thinking about anything and I wasn't concentrating on anything but my race? At this point, I turned into that cartoon character, right? That's spinning their wheels. My arms were moving and my arms were moving and I'm not going anywhere. And I was thinking, I didn't pack enough clothes for a month in Seoul, South Korea. How can I miss enough school? I mean, miss this much school. I'm going to be a junior in high school. All of those thoughts. I touch the wall. I look up at the scoreboard. I see my lane number 3. I see another 3 next to it. And then I look at my time. I bettered my time by 3 seconds. My favorite number now is 3. But I look at that second 3. And that second 3 signifies the fact that I got third by 27 100ths of a second. Authentically, my 15-year-old self was stoked. Remember that girl who spit in my lane a few minutes beforehand? I can compete against her. Then they replayed the race on the Jumbotron. And then I saw how close I was. And after that race, people were coming up to me as if someone had died. Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry for your loss. And I realized very quickly that I think, did people think that was a failure? It did not take me long to realize I was not meant to make those Olympic Games. That failure was an opportunity to turn that dream that I had into a goal. So for those next 4 years, I got a scholarship to Stanford, the school I really wanted to go to. I now had 2 amazing coaches, the coach that taught me no deposit, no return, and the other coach that you saw in the video, Richard Quick, who taught me that the impossible is in fact possible when you have the game plan, when you have a clear path, and when you have the support. So for those 4 years, I worked so hard. I took everybody's no, you can't do it, and I turned it into fuel. I had, a propane tank behind me, and I was very focused. But the journey wasn't perfect. About 11 months before Olympic trials, and when I was asked to give this talk, this is the story that I thought of, because I oftentimes forget it. But 11 months before Olympic trials, 11 months before what was, I felt like, going to be my Olympic Games, I did something to my shoulder. It was almost like a toothache in my shoulder. And I went in and saw the doctor, and the doctor said, hey, it's just overuse. You need to rest for like a month and a half. So for a month and a half, I started out, I was swimming with one arm, and then that arm got sore. And then I started kicking, and then I started kicking with fins on. And then the fins started to give me blisters around my feet. So then I put socks on. And then after that, I couldn't use the fins anymore because my feet were so bloody. So I sat on the side of the pool and did a stand-up bike while I was watching my friends get better in the pool. And I was so frustrated. I thought, this isn't the plan. This is not the way it was supposed to go. I've been working for 4 years. And one time I just I was fed up. I got off the bike and I went to the locker room. And my coach, Richard Quick, came in after me and he sat me down and he said, Summer, he's from Texas. I don't know if we have anybody from Texas, but he had this great accent and he talked like this. And then I won't do the Texas accent anymore, but that's the way it sounded. And it was so comforting. And he said, Summer, you're missing this opportunity. He said, what's the weakest part of your stroke? And I said, my kick. He goes, exactly. This is a gift. You have been given a gift to concentrate on only one thing, and that one thing is your weakness. Go out there and take advantage of it. I believed him. My heart didn't fully believe him, but I bought into it. And 11 months later, I qualified for 4 individual events and had the meet of my life. And then a week later, our team, Stanford University, won the NCAA championships. The greatest achievement, actually, of my life. I know that shocks people. So let's go back to that video. Let's go back and I'm going to spell it out for you. I started with my bronze medal, right? My 400 IM. I got third, therefore the bronze. I walked out of the pool. I was so excited. The reporter puts the microphone in front of my face and says, literally, this is the question. You just got the bronze medal. You must be so disappointed. I said, no, in fact, I wasn't. My next race was the 100 butterfly. I wasn't even expected to make the team in that race. I could have done better, absolutely, but I ended up 6th. Then came a glimpse of what the gold medal felt like with the 4x100 medley relay. We won the gold medal. And then my 200 IM. And this is where that awesome picture goes in. This is where I decided to get a little bit mean. I decided to focus. See that I tried to do a mean face. I tried to psych out my competitors. It didn't work. I started laughing when I saw one of my college girlfriends behind me in the stands. It was so hot and she was so sweaty, and she'd painted her face with USA that it was all dripping down. The moment I saw her, I snapped out of it and I started laughing. And that actually was my best race, I think. I was toughest till the end, but I got 2nd. And I won a silver, and I popped out of the pool, and the reporter said, "You just won your silver medal. You must be so disappointed." And that's when I cried in the arms of my coach. And all of those times where I had to rethink, am I excited about this? Yes, I'm excited about this. It wore on me. So that by the time I stood on the block, or by the time I showed up for finals, for my final race, that 200 butterfly that you saw, I was emotionally, mentally, I know you think those are maybe both the same things, but I think they're different, and physically absolutely depleted, drained. I didn't know where I was going to draw this strength to be able to do this final race. And that same coach that I love so much with my whole heart, Richard Quick, I was standing behind the blocks to warm up for the finals, and I was talking to my friend Janie Wagstaff, and we were giggling. Because we were giggling, he walked up to me and said, "I don't think you're taking this seriously." And I looked at him with like disgust and disbelief. And who do you think you are? And I dove into the pool. And I decided right then and there, I didn't have the strength to be angry. I needed to actually figure it out. What did I want? And what was I doing? So I did my warm up. I didn't talk to anybody. I got out and I walked. Our facility for Barcelona was gorgeous. It was an outdoor pool. But there was this hallway around the middle of it. And I started walking in this indoor hallway. And I found this random bathroom. I mean, we had security at these games, but I was by myself in this random bathroom. And I looked into the mirror and I had a moment with myself. I needed this. And I've done this before in my life since, but I had a moment with myself and I said, "Summer, why do you swim? Why do you swim?" And it was pretty clear. I swim because I love it. Thought back to when I was a little kid, that first picture of when I never wore a swim cap. I swim because I love it. And then I thought, who do you swim for? I swim for myself. Why do I want this gold medal? I want it for myself. And I really think that that's okay, you guys. I think that's okay to want to do these things for yourselves. I know you said what moves her. There were many things, helping people. I'm going to go through it later. But at this moment, my 19-year-old brain said, I came here to do this for myself. And then I thought, where's my strength, right? I don't have any strength left. Where am I going to draw this strength from? And I thought of my family, my mom, my dad, my best girlfriend who was there, my aunt, and my brother. Those were my people in the stands. Who cares about me? Who really cares about me? This is all before social media, but I was feeling the pressure. So I thought about those things. I made my way out to the finals. I stood behind my lane and I looked over at a banner to the right of the swimming pool. And I saw that it said Barcelona 92 with the Olympic rings. And I said to myself, this is the last time in this pool at these Olympic Games. Give it everything you have. I distinctly remember saying that. I dove into that water and the commentator was right. I usually take it out way ahead of everyone else and they kind of maybe slowly inch toward me. All I was thinking during that race were two things. I'm probably giving my parents a heart attack. And number two, I hope I can finish this race. I really didn't think I had enough energy to even touch the wall to finish, let alone win a gold medal. I think my point in telling this story to you now and in this way is even when you might be at your worst, even when, hey, the world might not be at its best, you are incredibly resilient. You are amazing if you can go back to the basics and the foundation of why you do it and what you're doing it for, things can get very cluttered when you think about too many things, when you've taken your dream and you've written it down and you have it as a goal, when you have your clear path and it's together, when you've put in the work, no deposit, no return, and you have the support system that you guys have, I know, at Coldwell Banker. Anything is possible, especially when it's imperfect. Dedication, consistency, all of that. And that moment as a 19-year-old when I touched the wall for the first time, touching the wall first and winning a gold medal, the first feeling I had was relief. And then all I wanted to do was get up with my family. Family is incredibly important. I heard that mentioned many times in What Moves Her. I want you to know that I know what you guys go through. I know it, and Sue kind of hinted at this, but I really, really know it because that's my husband, Eric Schlopey, and he is a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker. My mother-in-law, Marnie Schlopey, was in the video of What Moves Her. He works with his family, Team Schlopey, out here in Park City, Utah. I know exactly the dedication. I know those Sundays when you think you're going to have your husband or your wife with you and they have to show real estate because that's when their clients are able to see them. I know when you sit down for dinner, it's 6:30 p.m. and that's when your clients are able to finally talk on the phone about the biggest decision of their lives. That's dedication from you. And I applaud you for it. You are amazing. You are unbelievable. And as my coach Richard Quick said, you are capable of the impossible with a very, very good game plan and a positive attitude. If there's one thing, and I wrote this down because I really wanted you guys to hear this. If there's one thing to remember out of my entire talk today, it's to never give up on what you want. As long as you really know what you want to accomplish, don't ever give up on it, even if people talk to you about being disappointing, right? Or putting you down in some way. Use that, as Sue said, as fuel for your fire to make that dream that turned into a goal a reality. Thanks, Sue.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Summer. It's so inspiring, and I have chills just watching the videos, but also hearing and understanding. We talked about this a little bit before, the perseverance it takes and the dedication and the passion to reach the level that you reached in, an Olympic athlete. There's so few individuals that truly have that gift and that talent, married with the perseverance and the dedication that it takes to get there, right? To give up. We talked before about things you gave up, right? And, whether we look at those things as, I was asked once, do you look at it as sacrifice, not being home for dinner all the time or not doing this? And I said, well, it really depends on your definition of sacrifice, right? And if you're reaching for a goal, I view it as sacrificing my goal, right? And I wouldn't want to do that. And so I'm curious your mindset. We have a ton of questions here and a lot of enthusiasm, and I'm going to get to all of those. How do you keep that mindset going, that commitment in the face of, especially as a young girl, but we all have that, right? I really don't want to go to that meeting, or I really don't want to do, I don't want to take that late call. I don't want to go to this. But it's that commitment. How did you talk yourself into that? Or did you ever need to? Did you ever find those moments? I think you alluded to a couple, but how do you do that mindset shift?
It was really habit. I knew that whatever action I was going to take, whether it was showing up for practice, showing up for dryland, that was habit. I was creating some sort of a habit. I also was really driven by the competition. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do, right? And my parents, my mom and my dad and my coaches were very clear. They did not coddle me. So they wouldn't say, oh, it's okay if you don't go to practice. They would say, well, you've got these clear goals. How are you going to accomplish these goals? And they would put it back on me to make the decision I knew I needed to make. I was a little frustrated at the time when they would do that, but I knew that whatever decision I made would turn into a habit. So the first time you don't go to practice, maybe it's not a big deal, but it makes the second time easier to not go to the practice. And I think a lot about, I'm in awe of my mother-in-law, Marnie, because I see how hard she works. and I see how hard she works on the cold calling. And see, now I think that would be incredibly difficult, right? And how easy it would just be to, on that one day when you just don't have the guts to get out there and do the cold calling, to go, I'm just not going to do it today. But what drives you to say, no, I have to be consistent. I have to do it today, because today could be the day. But also, if I don't do it today, I might not do it tomorrow either. So I knew that
I
very
love that. Yeah, that habit, that muscle memory almost, right, for the activities that drive the results. And we talk about that a lot, the deposits, right? Making the deposits to get to the outcome. And it's so crucial and it's so important. And in real estate, so many of us are individuals, right? We're entrepreneurs. We, of course, have a lot of teams now as well, people that work in teams and bigger teams. And there's been an evolution of that over the years. But there is that. You have to get up every day and make that commitment to yourself, right? We don't have people necessarily holding us accountable to that always the way you may in other things. And that's so important to make that commitment to yourself and not let yourself down through that process.
Yeah. And I think maybe there was a stretch of time where if you did things for yourself, it was selfish. But I actually think that this journey of wanting to be an established businesswoman, an established real estate agent, a respected real estate agent is selfless. You're helping the industry, right? My mom was an individual real estate agent. She was a Coldwell Banker agent in the 80s. And my parents divorced. So I watched her work so incredibly hard. I also watched how emotional it can get, right? On both sides. You're dealing with your client's emotions, but if for some reason a friend uses somebody else, there is emotion there as well. So I see all the sides of it and how tough you have to be and how focused and how driven. All of those things you should celebrate. Those are things that you as individual entrepreneurs, agents, business people, brokers, whatever you want to call yourselves, you have accomplished that. And remember what I was talking about, that sense of accomplishment. You do need to remember to pat yourself on the back every now and then. That doesn't mean that you've given up and you're done by celebrating achievements. I think celebrating achievements along the way. In fact, really quickly, Sue, we used to practice our victory celebration at Stanford. My coach, Richard Quick, who I mentioned several times, every Friday would make us start just outside of the flags. And so we do maybe 30 strokes into the wall, like we were finishing a race. And we had to pretend that we were winning the race, breaking a world record, and winning a gold medal all at the same time. And individually, we would do this and we would touch the wall. And then we had our victory celebration. We practiced it because you have to be able to do that. And you have to be able to see yourself as successful as you want to be to actually do it. And he knew that.
I love that. There's so much about it that's mindset in everything that we do and everything that we want to accomplish. So I want to get to a couple of the questions in here. And I know one of these, there was a question about, and I'm going to kind of weave two together, and we talked a little bit about this. One of them is, what if your dream shifts into a different direction at a later point in life? What suggestions do you have? And then somebody else said, as a 90s kid, it's also an honor to meet the host of Figure It Out. How and why did you make the transition, right? From being an athlete to an entertainment, to entertainment and being a TV host. And we talked before a little bit. I think people would love to hear that, especially talking about the pivot. And I believe a lot of people today are rethinking things and thinking differently about their lives. And you had to make that decision, right? To pivot, swim again, or make a different path in your life. And so I think everybody would love to hear the thought process and how you did that.
Absolutely. And again, you use the word pivot, and I get excited when I hear the word pivot. So for as long as I wanted to swim, I knew I wanted to work in television. In fact, my best girlfriend and I in high school we didn't have a video camera. We had a tape recorder, and we would tape record fake sitcoms together. So it was something I knew I wanted to do, but also I had the opportunity straight from my athletic career to go into broadcasting. It was very scary. We talked about that with pivoting or change or new territory. Yes, it was scary. And it was scary for different reasons because I was now kind of being judged. I didn't come from gymnastics or ice skating or, aerials, other sports where you perform and then you're judged. I touched the wall and I saw who won. So in this profession, I now had to audition, and I had to sit back and wait, like a month and a half to decide whether I quote unquote won. And winning meant, did I have the right hair color? Was I the right gender? Was I the right height? Was my background correct? There were so many factors that I had really no control over, that was probably the hardest part of my transition. But I would get scared before every audition. In fact, going back to my direct line into broadcasting, I really took any job that came my way. The first one was commentating on my friends at the NCAA championship. So I gave up my eligibility from Stanford right before the Olympic trials and right after we won the NCAA championship in 1992. And then the next year for NCAAs, they asked if I wanted to do the broadcasting. So here I am. I'm talking about my friends. That's a little daunting, right? But it was very fun. I think that's the one thing, is that you really can't, for people who want to make a shift, I applaud you. If you want to pivot into another direction, that's awesome. You do have to have some sort of passion for it, though. I knew I wanted to be in television, and I loved it, and I was passionate about it. I'm very lucky that I had two things that I really care about so deeply. But if you aren't passionate about it, it's really, really hard to give it your all. It's really, really hard to make those tough habit calls, Sue, as we were talking about earlier, where you have to decide to do these things even though it's inconvenient or you don't want to or whatever. You have to make it that habit so that you can be successful at it. But yeah, I loved all the television shows I hosted. Nickelodeon was one of my favorites. The Slime and just the generation of kids that watched that show was truly remarkable. I'm always so honored.
That is so cool, and it brings a big smile to my face, as I'm sure it does so many others. A lot of wonderful feedback. Thanking you for the session. Very empowering. One question: after accomplishing so much, what would you say your biggest challenge is today? So many
high school kids, maybe. I mean, honestly, it's parenting. And frankly, I will say this, because this is a very candid conversation, and I love that. I was a very driven individual, right? I made those decisions to get up at 4:07 in the morning because I had a goal in mind and I wanted to do that. There are a lot of people that just don't want to do that and don't have those same goals. And they may live in the same household as me. So I have to back off and let the people that I love live the life that they want, which might be very different than the life I led. And so that, I think, actually is one of my toughest things to deal with right now. And I never would have thought that. I just, I was raised by a mama who every single night when I put my head on my pillow, she would say, you can do anything you want to as long as you put your mind to it. And I sort of felt like that's what I need to do. I have to do everything I want to as long as I put my mind to it. And it fit with my psyche. I really, really wanted to work hard. And I loved that sense of accomplishment. But I do now look back and go, maybe now I realize how important it is to enjoy every moment, to fully enjoy it. And what we've learned maybe from right now and the situation that we're in is to have very focused goals. Not incredibly huge, large, vast goals, focused goals that you can accomplish step by step. And it's all awesome, but that's the one thing that I'm personally working on.
I think you have a lot of people that can relate to that right now. And it's interesting because I think, as a parent and as a very driven individual, and I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I struggle with that sometimes too, I think I've always been that way, and I was raised very much the same way. You can do whatever you want, and you can, and yet I try to think back, and obviously did not have any level of dedication because I quit swimming. But I've been dedicated in my career later in life, so I think it's a balance as a parent to let your child be themselves. And support them and instill whatever those values are that helped you get successful, but allow them to make their own path. And we are in such a family business. We heard that, earlier in the What Moves Her series, that we see a lot of families come up, and daughters and sons and mothers and fathers. And it's awesome to see. I think it's very unique to our business. And I love that. And I love how many times I've heard a story of somebody saying, well, I was at an I grew up going to open houses. My mom would take me as a baby and I'd sit in, my car seat or whatever. So it is fun to see that come to fruition in the real estate business for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Yeah, it's very cool. So one of the, I wrote so many things. I love the addicted to being scared and kind of how that pushes you and gets you through that. Not everybody has that makeup, right? And sometimes we need a little help being pushed off the cliff. One of the things that somebody said to me years ago is you're somewhat fearless in your approach of things. And I think my upbringing and other things have a lot to do with that. Do you have advice for anybody that does not find the fear of exhilarating to perhaps, it's hard to give advice when you haven't walked that walk, but anything you've learned or maybe saw some of your friends or teammates overcome over time that would help somebody take that plunge, take that risk. Sorry, I didn't mean the pun, but to take something that may scare them and go after it.
Well, first of all, I respect anybody who's scared. That's just a natural reaction. And I think I would suggest that you really analyze what it is that you're scared of. Because I often say, if it scares you, you should do it. And you probably know that, and that probably increases you being scared of it. But what is the fear? Is the fear and the word scared, is that stemming from the fact that you're not sure that you can do it, right? Or you're not sure what the outcome is going to be? And I forget who it was in what moves her, but the growth. I fully feel that if your goal is to grow as an individual and as a business person, as a real estate agent, you have to figure out how to take on that fear and go for it. And also trust in the fact that you have this incredible support system and this foundation. And again, go back to what's the worst that can happen, right? So I really feel like a lot of fear is stemming from, a lot of being scared is stemming from the fear of failure. And that will absolutely limit you. So it's time to get honest with yourself, right? I'm not asking you to jump out of an airplane. That's real fear. And I'm not going to do it. And I'm not going to feel bad that I don't want to do it. But if somebody says, hey, will you give this speech? Because you're really knowledgeable on this subject, but you're scared to do it. Maybe you start small. Maybe you give a speech yeah, I'll do it, but can I just speak in front of like 5 people and can we have a conversation? And then you work your way up. And every single step of overcoming a little bit of this fear and the scared, or trying something new, or doing new territory, or moving your business to a different place, or whatever, every time you do this just a little bit more, you grow so much more. And when you grow, maybe there'll be new things that will scare you, but you'll get to understand that doing the things that scare you are actually quite good for you. They really are. And I think what makes it so difficult for people to make that decision is they really probably in their gut know the answer to that question of should they do it. And they get bummed out if they don't have the guts to go for it. So whatever you need, if you just need somebody to be there with you at your side, to remind you that this person's going to still love me if I totally flounder or if I crush it. I think that it's about your support system, really, going back to that.
I think that's so true. And it's so important to realize that, and like, what's the worst that can happen, right? I think we tend to catastrophize everything in our mind. And I even see that with kids a lot today. Everything is like the worst that could possibly happen. And just walking a step back from that and tied to that, there's a question here from Heather Ostrom, actually. Love you, Heather. And she was complimenting on your amazing energy level, and you're just the shot in the arm, and the commitment and dedication, everything is amazing.
Thanks, Heather.
How have you pushed out the folks who negatively framed items or the naysayers, whether it be from TV or swimming? I have my own thoughts on how I personally have done that, but how did you do that? Did you have any, right? And besides the woman who's spit in your swim lane.
I totally did. And it's interesting. And I don't know the age range of everybody who's on this call, but I can say that my answer would be totally different if I was 20 or 25 and answering this question. And it would be totally different if I was in my 30s. But now in my 40s, first of all, There are really handfuls of people that I really care about their opinion, right, of me. I have a good sense, and I want you to say, I'm saying this about myself, but I know I'm speaking for you. I have a really good sense of the person that I am. And if you trust that you're a good person and that you're hardworking, you put in the work, the no deposit, no return, right? Because that can weigh on you if you haven't put the work in. If you trust that, the things that people say to you are so clearly what they're missing in their life, you know? So that's my 40-year-old sense feeling that way. But I hosted an NBA show called Inside Stuff, and I was a swimmer, but I loved basketball with my whole heart. And I never played. I thought I could play. My brother would say, "Oh my gosh, you're like the next Cheryl Miller," but he was kidding. And I only learned that about 15 years ago. Anyway, I thought I was a decent basketball player, but I really didn't know a lot about it. And so one time I was on set of the show. It was called Inside Stuff. And the unnamed player, very tall, accomplished, awesome basketball player, I was dribbling the ball, and he said, "Aren't you so worried that you're going to break one of your nails?" And I'm telling you, I was 20 something, and I was embarrassed for him because I thought to myself, "Oh, you don't know what I've done in sports. When you learn that, you're going to be embarrassed and you're going to feel bad." And I didn't say that out loud, but I said that within. So it really, really is thinking of yourself a certain way. So going back to writing things on your mirror, right, and posting them, it's absolutely fine if you feel like you need a little pep talk every single morning because you have negative energy coming at you, to just write down all these great things about yourself. Because when you have this shield up and you walk in with this sense of knowing who you are, it's very difficult to let those people penetrate that. In fact, they're going to be so concentrating on their negative conversation that you're going to outsmart them and come around the other side, and you're going to win the client or win the account or whatever, right? Because you're focused on your goal. I think it's very easy to be distracted by negativity, and you got to put up that shield and just not even let it in, right? It's easier said than done. I totally realize, but trust in what you've accomplished, trust in what you want to accomplish, and trust in the game plan that you have to accomplish that goal.
I think that's amazing and such solid advice and so true. And there is something that comes a little bit with age as we get older and we get a much more comfortable with our sense of self and who we are. And, I think it's so important to decide, though, early on, if you can, whose voices matter, who you're going to listen to, trust in that and move forward. There's going to be negativity. There's going to be naysayers. There's going to be no's, especially in a sales-based career, you hear a lot of no. But you've got to learn from that and move on, and don't doubt yourself and just silence the others. And to me, as I said before, the fuel to my fire that becomes as being a competitive person, of just proving someone wrong or coming around the other side and surprising them, man, that's a good feeling. I mean, that's just amazing. And the embarrassment, I love that. I mean, I hate that story, but I love the way you sort of framed it in yourself. And you're right. And it's the negative from other people is more about them than about you. And the faster and more ingrained that can become in you as an individual, as a woman, as anybody, better off we're going to be.
Sue, it's interesting that I meant to say this and add it to my speech because you led into my introduction so well with so many good nuggets of information. And you were touching upon the whole no, somebody saying you probably can't do this or you can't do this, fueling your fire. My club coach, Mike Hastings, he used to always do that to me. So he knew that that's the way I worked. And so he'd start out, and for people who don't know swimming, but he'd start out and he'd read a set that we were going to do. So he'd say, like 4 800 IMs. You probably can't do this, but why don't you try it on this interval? And all I heard was what I'm supposed to do. And then you probably can't do this. And so I was going to prove him wrong. And it didn't even dawn on me that it was like psychology 101, but it totally worked for me. for him to say that. So it's as if he was conditioning me to take any response like that in life. You probably can't do this. I mean, he said it so casually like that. I'm sure that we hear it a little bit differently. You can't do that. And go, oh, sweet. All right. Now I know that I'm going to do it. Thank you very much for fueling my fire. So
watch me, right?
Yeah, watch me. And then you go say that I can't do this.
So a fun question, maybe not fun. It depends, I guess, on the answer, but a little bit away from sort of the business and everything else. But question around, was there a lot of media scrutiny around your life when you were at the Olympics? And how did you deal with that at a young age? You know, I wrote some notes about and what came to mind was defining your own success. And we could get into that, right? The announcer says, oh, you must be disappointed. You're like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't think of it that way. So there's some of that comes from it. But what was the media like and the attention as a young girl? I mean, you've clearly gone on to be extremely successful in a whole nother field, but what was that like?
Yes. So I want people to understand, in 1992, let's remember, cell phones didn't exist. The internet had maybe kind of just was at the beginning of being invented. And so, of course, we had no email, we had no social media. I had absolutely no way of getting hold of my family. So no one really could get a hold of me unless you were hollering out my name. We didn't have telephones in our dorm rooms or our athletes village where we were staying. So, and I didn't necessarily read the newspaper. I didn't have time in between. So I did not see a lot of the media coverage, which I'm really glad, because the hype going into it was intense. The hype was Summer Sanders is entered in 5 events, 4 individual and a relay. So she's going to win 5 gold medals. And I love our American competitive spirit. I love it. But I knew in my heart that would be really difficult. So my very first race, like I said, was the bronze, right? And this was my first medal. And I won I broke my hero's American record. And I was so excited. I mean, I was a little disappointed that I didn't, win the gold, but I was really excited to win my first medal. And that first question came in and out my ear. I really didn't let it sink in. And again, I actually thought to myself, oh, this poor reporter, he couldn't think of another question. Is that hilarious? So I was like, all right, well, no, I broke my hero's American record and I won my first medal and all of this. But I did start to feel it as I went on. But I'm going to tell you, I can't even complain about it because I don't know how athletes this day and age do this. I don't know how athletes this day and age can handle the pressure of expectations. So they have to be so incredibly tough. They have to wear armor upon armor upon armor. But I do want to tell you a really cool story about this medal. Beyond the fact that the top of it has broken off at one point in its life. When I won this medal, it was the very first race of the Olympic Games. And, so I get it around my neck, I go to drug testing, I warm down. And by the time I made it back to the Olympic Village, it was quite late. But so many of my teammates were lined up outside my room because they just wanted to hold it. They just wanted to feel the weight of my Olympic medal, and they didn't look at the color. And I kind of tear up even just thinking about it right now because it is the beauty of the Olympic Games. And I wish that I usually bring all my medals to my speeches and I let you guys hold on to them and everything. But it really is the weight of these medals that means so much. And I always say, people say, oh, they're so heavy. And I said, shouldn't they be? Because the journey is quite a journey. So there's my long-winded answer to that question. It wasn't a lot to deal with in my day and age. Simply because I can't imagine what athletes do and how they deal with it now.
It's a great point and a great reminder of how much access we have today to everything. And we could do a whole session on that and the weight that athletes carry today. But, Summer, I think it's a great point to end on. Shouldn't they weigh a lot? It takes a lot to earn them, just like success, just like anybody reaching the pinnacle of their career. It takes a lot. You earn it. You earn the weight of that around your neck in a medal or in any way reaching the top of your career or success as you define it. Another key takeaway for me is don't define someone else's success. A reporter tried doing it. Somebody else did. Don't define it. Define it yourself. Don't listen to the voices that don't matter. I cannot thank you enough for being here today. I love that you're part of our Coldwell Banker family. I love your inspiration, your dedication, and the power behind the pivot, leveraging any setback to drive yourself further. It's just amazing. I'm sure the audience just loved hearing from you today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Sue, thank you. And thanks everyone. Have a wonderful year. You've got this. You're amazing. And I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. And now, before I wrap, I want to share the rest of our What Moves Her video submissions. So we will be right back.
What moves me is the opportunity I'm provided from Coldwell Banker to be the best example I can for my two daughters.
What moves me is seeing those that I train and support succeed.
Since work and personal lives are so integrated these days, I'm really on a mission to figure this out and make it work for me and my family.
This moves me because I am able to do such amazing work for my clients and I get them sold so I can afford to live here.
I think it's inspiring people. It's when you talk to someone and you give them some information or some encouragement and you see that light in their eyes. I think that's what charges my battery. I think that's what pushes me forward every day.
What moves me is really being aligned with a company that has so many successful females demonstrating day in and day out that anything's possible.
I love what I do, and that's what moves me the most, my friends and my family.
And what moves me is hope. It's hope for my ability to do the best for my clients and the hope that we find them what they want and what they hope for.
What moves us is that we can coordinate with each other. We work together through all of our scenarios and it makes things so much easier.
Surrounding myself with people that are passionate, creative, and talented give me the positivity to be a better woman and set an example for the two young women I'm raising.
With a culture that my agents want to be part of and are excited to be part of, building something that matters, that's what really moves me.
What moves me is emotion. The emotion that you see in buyers and sellers when you assist them in participating in the American dream of homeownership.
What moves me is my ability to use my creativity to help people and guide them through the home buying and selling process.
Being able to help people change their lives through ownership.
Finding the inner strength to defiantly look that challenge in the eye and say, I will win. I will come out on top, and then just do it.
I also enjoy helping people get the house that they really want.
Working with my broker one-on-one on business coaching and using Listing Concierge has really propelled my business forward.
Is being surrounded by hardworking people who are kind, honest, and charitable.
And what moves me is seeing the joy that others feel when they are able to achieve their goals.
The opportunity I have to help others, be it a client, my family, a fellow colleague, or another breast cancer survivor out in the community that needs to hear my story.
And I would say what motivates me are working with my second mother and my first mother every day.
Is the opportunity to wake up every day and support my agents as they live their perfect careers and live their best lives ever.
I absolutely love hearing from all of you and what moves you. You truly move me. And Summer, amazing opportunity, amazing presentation. Thank you. I hope we all take some of this home with us today. I am most hope that you define your dream big, set a big dream, write down your goals, and join us on October 21st at our next Portraits of What Moves Her, where I'll be joined by Pauline Bennett, the president of our New England Coldwell Banker Realty operations, and we're going to be focused on 2021, set for success, plan ahead for 2021, your best year yet. Let's take everything we've learned to set big goals, big dreams, define our goals, and take action to achieve what we truly are capable of achieving. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. Have an amazing rest of your Gen Blue and an amazing rest of the year. Thank you.